morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Premarket Info.
Apple hanging out in these 530s, but could it go lower? Wondering if it could actually eventually take out $500. Walmart and Target reported earnings here this morning. Walmart under serious pressure. We had NetTap, The Limited, PetSmart, Diamond Foods, and Williams-Sonoma reported last night. But where is the market heading from here after that horrible down day? First, let's start with Apple.
Well, you got a couple observations on Apple. First of all, I thought it held up relatively well yesterday.
Yep.
For as much as the market was getting crushed, they just didn't take it out and beat it. So from that perspective, it's okay. From a purely technical perspective here, Dennis, you got to be nervous, man. Sitting on all these lows here, you had 3 out of the last 4 lows between 533.72 and 536.36. You had double bottom from Tuesday and Wednesday. You know they're going to shake the people out of the tree there that are using that as a reference point. I mean, how can it hold up and not take out those lows and put some pain and inflict some pain on people?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are using that low that we set there 4 days ago at 533.72 as a reference point for their longs. I'd imagine the high-frequency traders and other traders will try to take it through that level to shake those traders out of their stock. The question is, does that invoke so much other selling pressure as it starts to make new lows on the move? That's the scary thing. This whole 530 area is what we had cited there even before we got down here. It has held up well for 4 or 5 days, but I do not like the consolidation here. It's been here for too long. There's too many people that are sitting on long positions trying to pick a bottom in this thing now. Long term, I think Apple will be fine. Short term, I think it's going lower. I think it's going to take out these lows, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have some type of washout day, get down to the 520, 515 area in the next day or two. Maybe it washes out then, hopefully, and then it can find another bottom and start to bounce back. But like I said before, Apple likes to make V bottoms. It likes to bottom and quickly rise back up. It hasn't done that here. It's had 5 days of consolidation. Just like the pattern that we had back here, if we go back in late October around this 630 number, you had 4 or 5 days of consolidation, and then look what happened. It broke down. I think the same thing is happening here. I'm nervous on the Apple position. I do have puts written on it. Obviously, those are longer term stuff, but I almost wonder if I should scalp out because I think I might get a better price.
Okay, just to finish up on Apple, you've had 6 lower highs in the market, which is not a good sign. Sellers are stepping down to get out of their stock. Just a couple levels to keep an eye on the downside. You do have support at 528.66 and 523.30, but if I think this thing gets rocking and rolling, I'm looking for 516.22 today. But Apple schmapple, there's other stocks to talk about.
Walmart reported earnings $1.08 against estimates of $1.07. They were a little light on revenue, $113.9 billion versus $114.9 billion. That put the stock under some initial pressure, but now there's other allegations about their Foreign Corrupt Practices Act violations, that they might have some more violations there. Remember the problems we had that back there in Mexico when the stock had that rough. When was that, Joel? I'm trying to go back and find that area on the chart. Was that in April?
Down.
Yeah.
That was over the summer.
In April. I can see the low when we got down to as low as 57.18. Well, these problems look like there may be some more there again, and they are selling the stock here this morning down to 69.20 here in the pre-market. It's down over $2, one of your biggest stocks on the Dow.
If you've been in this stock since April and you've participated in this run and you got some profits booked, if you are not either looking to put a sell stop in or sell the stock outright or buy puts or sell calls or do something, then I think you're being a pig. I mean, you got a move in Walmart here from 57 to 77.60.
Huge move for
Walmart. 20-point move in Walmart, okay? go back and find out the standard deviations, how many times that happened. All right.
Yeah, if we go back
It
even the last 10 years, Joel, we were in that 50 to 60 or 45 to 60 area for the better part of 10 years. Here in 4 months, we took out and doubled that range. So it is a ridiculous move higher for a stock with a market cap as big as Walmart. I think you had this whole flight, so I completely agree with you. I think you had this whole flight into conservative stocks, dividends, looking for yield, and now people are nervous. So, I mean, it sucks that you're going to have to, if you're selling the thing and it's down 2 points today, but this chart is broken here now, and this stock could continue to drift lower.
Yeah, I think this is one gap that's just not going to get filled for a while. I mean, you break it down, you did have major support at this $71 level. Obviously, someone's had a little bit of an inkling going into these earnings. The stock is sold off. You had the 71.08 low. That's going to be major resistance now. Looking at the pre-market activity, we did get a nice bounce off 68.65. So if you bottom pickers or people looking to bring in some shorts, take a look at that 68.65 level. You had a low back on June 29 at 68.56. After that, nice round number like 68 might put the bottom in today.
Target also reported earnings, and they were good, 90 cents against estimates of 77. But here's a similar story. They reported these earnings, and the stock spiked nicely. Joel will go find that pre-market high for you. It has pulled back from those highs, though. It's only up 40 cents now at 61.80. How high did that thing get on that report?
62.70.
So
was
here it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can say, oh, it's having good. It's up 40 cents. No, it was up $1.40. It's now pulling back from those highs. It's like these stocks can't hold on to their gains. Like even look at Home Depot when it had that big gap up. Yesterday it gave back the entire gain that it had from the gap up. They're just these companies are reporting good earnings, but they're not holding. People are selling stocks into strength.
Uh, on the upside, it's hard to pick where this thing's gonna go up. I mean, you had a 61.38 close, so we're holding that. 62.69 was yesterday's high. That coincides nicely with the pre-market high. So I'm looking major resistance 62.50 to 62.70. But I think your better technical trade here to see how the $61 level holds. You had 61.02 low yesterday. You had some lows a little bit higher than that in the middle of the month. I'd say as long as you hold above 61, I think you're okay in this stock. Break below 61, and I think you might want to think about an exit plan.
I think it goes below 61. It's going to see 60, and 60 has good support. If we go back into late July, there you had
Yep.
that nice double bottom right on the button at $60. So if it starts taking out and starts trading below 61, I would not be surprised if this stock tried to make a run for 60 here. Lots of other stocks reporting here, some smaller ones. Here's some good news here, so we're not all bearish on you. NTAP NetTap reported earnings. They beat 51 cents against estimates of 48. Their guidance was a little bit on the light side, but doesn't matter. Stock is trading up here, almost $3. It's up $2.92 at 30.05 after closing at 27.12. So nice pop for NetTap.
Yeah, 30.40 was the high in the pre-market. Dennis, how many times have you seen this trick before where a stock is just sold off violently here? You had a high of
Yeah.
46.80. It just skims on the bottom here of the chart, forms a little bottom, then all of a sudden you get a 3-point pop.
Boom.
On nothing. So I'm looking at this $30 level. 30.39 and 30.43 were the highs back in the middle of the month, the 18th and 19th. That coincides with the pre-market high. If we don't get there and get above the level, I think this stock is going to do a Cisco and just sell off the rest of the day.
So yeah, if we just go back to Cisco, we did open up near those highs, and then the stock just rolled over. I think as high as 18.25 is what we trade in the regular session on Cisco, and then obviously it closed almost near the lows of 17.77. I'm not as bearish. Some of these thinner ones sometimes hold up well just because there's just not as much liquidity in those things, and you've caught people short probably the thing with the bearish chart. So I'm not as bearish as you that it'll turn around, but I don't even know where some of these thinner ones are just harder to call. Sometimes they follow through, they go up another dollar on you, then they turn around and start shaking and going the other way. I mean, it's just momentum. These things to get the momentum going in one direction,
Yep.
it's hard to break it. The Limited reported earnings LTD. This stock hasn't traded here this morning. Is offered down. I think it was trading down last night, though. Was it not after the report, Joel?
Yeah, this thing has been really all over the place. You got to spike down to a 45.90, and then you got a recovery up to 47.
Okay, so we're looking this 46 area. I've drawn it here
Oh,
on the
look at
chart.
that.
The whole 46 area, if we go back into early August, you had a low there, and then over the course of the last month, we've had multiple lows in this 46 area. Obviously, critical that we do hold this, because if we start to go below that, it opens up.
Yeah, I'd have to concur with you on that. We did just dip under 45.90 was a pre-market low. As long as you hold 46 here, you're good to go. But if you look at this stock, you've had a major run from 39.32 up to 52 here. You could, give half of that back, and it could still be in an uptrend. So 46 is the number in limited brands.
PetSmart reported earnings here too. They actually beat nicely, 75 cents against estimates of 63. The stock is up $3.60 here, trading at 68.42 on light volume, only a couple hundred shares. It traded a bit more last night. How high did it get last night there, Joel?
69.69 was the
Okay.
pre-market high. You've come and settled back down here. A little bit of consolidation, you could say, here around the 68.50 level. Not a lot of volume here associated with this. Boy, you got to keep an eye on that 70 number, don't you, Dennis?
Oh
70
yeah.
and a quarter, 70.31. The highs on the 17th and 18th of this month. So if if you've been holding this thing after the dip here, you're coming back up to the 70 level, you might want to stick a few offers out there.
Diamond Foods, your disaster stock here of the day, closed at 19.50, down at 15.20 right now. They reported earnings. They had a loss, and then they had to they're restating financials from 2010 and 2011. They obviously didn't reported the earnings too high in those years, and they're restating. I hate it when companies do that. They got to go back and restate earnings. Just shows you this funny stuff with the accounting going on here too. Not in love with this just from that perspective. You had multiple lows back in July in the 16 area. We are sharply through there, trading at 15.20 right now. This chart is just awful looking if you go back into July, August of last year when the stock got up to 96 bucks. It's now at 15. Where is the stock heading?
Well, let's talk about the fundamentals of Diamond Foods. I do like their kettle potato chips. But obviously I'm the only one eating them here. Taking a look at the pre-market, we're just skimming along the bottom here at 15.11, 15.12, 15. That have been the lows. You got to go way back in the charts on this one, Dennis. You got to go back into the good old year of 2007. You made a low at 15.28 in September of that month. I will call that support. I mean, even if you've been short this stock for a while, you're getting a 4-point drop, in a $19 stock. I'm sure some shorts will be looking to bring some in here unless you think it's going to zero. So use that $15 level as support. Coming back on the upside, any rallies, $16 psychological number that held up for resistance after the announcement and after it dipped down under 15. So 15 to 16, the range in Diamond Foods.
Williams Sonoma also reported earnings. This stock was very volatile after reporting. They've reported 49 cents against estimates of 45. Their full year 2013 guidance was a bit light though, 245 to 252. Estimates were up at 254. This stock spiked up after the earnings report into the 46 handle, then sold all the way down, I believe, down to 43. Now it's sitting here at 44.70 is where it traded after hours. It's offered at 44 bucks here. No volume this morning, but after hours last night, this thing was wild.
Where's it offered?
44 bucks.
It's offered at 44.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's 100 shares offered there. Nobody's picking them up. So obviously it's not a lot of volume, but nobody's picking them off either. So where was the trade in that last night there, Joel?
46.78.
Got to 46.78. What was the low?
And then it spiked down to 42.66.
What a range. And now
Yeah,
it's back kind of trading.
You
nearer
sell
to the settlement.
expensive, kitchen, cutlery and stuff, and who knows. But looking at the chart here, you did have major support at 45.
45,
That's
yeah.
been broken. So if you get a rally up to the $45 level, I was looking at that as resistance. The pre-market low might be a little bit out of the question too at 42.66. We talk about gaps, Dennis, and how they're usually filled. You got a monster gap to fill in this stock. Went from 38 and a quarter to 41.38. So I don't think it's going to get there today, but I think over the next couple of weeks here, they could come down and fill that gap.
Wow. Texas Instruments here. They're cutting the work. They're cutting another 1,700 jobs here. They announced after hours. Stock actually trading up on this news. Traded up to 29 bucks last night. It's kind of sitting here. Hasn't traded this morning. A lot of stocks haven't traded this morning actually, but last night Texas Instruments was trading higher on that job cuts. I guess they like it that they're cutting expenses.
Yep, 29.39 was the spike in the pre-market. You've had a pre-market low and
After hours, yeah.
yeah, after hours. 28.76 has been holding in there, just hanging out at the $29 level. You did get a close right on the low, so use that 28.70 as support. If it takes that out, you still have a little bit of a cushion at the $28.50 level. Major resistance. You had three highs between 29.64 and 29.74. So keep an eye on that 29.70 if you get any kind of rally in Texas Instruments.
Facebook was wild yesterday. What a spike for Facebook off that whole $20 area. Everybody came in. They thought when they were releasing more shares that the thing was going to tank. Well, that was a crowded trade, obviously, because it did the exact opposite. It rallied 10% and just destroyed anybody that was shorting it on the speculation that once the new shares were coming out, it was going to go lower. That's what this market does. It figures out what side the majority of the participants are on, and it goes the other way. And that's what happened yesterday in Facebook, and that's why you've seen this huge spike.
Yeah, and also what's really impressive is it did it in just a down market. In that,
Yeah.
So people that were, just the market's going down, just laying out on, shorts on that, just got clobbered. Just going back a little bit farther, the old spike up that you had on the earnings came back down, filled the gap, and then some. Got a nice rally. We'll just have to keep an eye. This 22.50 was the high. That's where it's trading. After it had that spike off earnings, you had a 22.88 high. So keep an eye on that. And who knows? This the way this stock trades. It could go back down a buck just as easily as it went up $2 yesterday.
Microsoft, you were saying, Joel, that you saw the potential for a double bottom here. Obviously, the last 2 days, 26.75 and 26.80. It's up a bit here in the pre-market. It's up a nickel at 26.89. Do you think that holds today?
Actually, no, that's what Mr. Softy does. And not only do you have a double bottom in the stock, but you have a double top too. After the gap down day with Sinofsky or whatever quit, you made two highs at 27.29, 27.30, and then you had the matching lows. So you can, if you want, you can try and pick a bottom here. I wouldn't let it cut too far through that level. And then coming about, on the upside, I think if you break above the 27.30 here, you got some real estate, to fill the gap. It's really quite a ways to go to fill the gap up to 28.21.
Overall market thoughts here. Obviously, yesterday we couldn't hold on to the gains that we had early on. We broke down, bounced off the key level at 13.50. We are 5 points above that right now, trading 13.55. I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous here. We bounced a bit off the 1350 yesterday, but I don't like the chart here. I think it could end up cutting through 1350. I think we could have another washout day here again today. What do you think?
You got to respect that, that low, that 1349.50 low. Nice round number like 1350. You got to believe if you do get a dip back down to that level, you will get some shorts looking to cover. The Globex low is just above that level, so I won't get super bearish until we take out that 1349.50. I do not see a lot under that until 1342 and a quarter, and then I don't even want to give you my number under 1342 and a quarter because our listeners might get scared and turn our show off. Coming back on the upside, you got the Globex high 1359. The only resistance point I have above that is 1361.50. And then, you get into a lot of air, just like the way it came down yesterday.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of volatility here today, regardless of where we move. We moved down quickly yesterday. We start getting up and start rallying. We can move up quickly too, but I do not see that happening. I think you're going to see, just my own opinion, I think you're going to see some follow through selling pressure here today. I hate this when you get the market up 2, 3, 4 points in the morning, because then it's like, oh, people come in and they start selling. It'd be better if we were down 7 or 8, we get the washout and then start to rally from there. So I'm nervous. We get through 1349.50. Katie bar the door. I think we could see 1340 today. That's our show for today, folks. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow.